Hey guys, Andrew here, and we have got the chat already going, huh? So let's see. We have. Oh, what's up, Thomas? Dune, welcome. Rich, actually, you should have got a tracking number right before the live stream started. I just printed all the postage today, so if you didn't get that, you need to let me know. But it should have arrived in an email response to was it an email response to your original email when you got your order for confirmation. So check that out. And if you don't get it, let me know. It's the birdie. I think I ate too many mushrooms. Things are getting weird. Yeah, that'll happen when you do that, man. They kind of take over your brain a little bit. Let's see. Joe said, hey, well, Joe, I just got off the phone with Joe, actually. Welcome to the chat, man. You can't type, huh? Yeah, that'll happen too. Yeah, man, that fog, talking to Killer. The fog, man, that stuff is so good. How's the hydro fog? I love. My favorite part about it is that you can just pipe it over with ventilation. You don't have to do hardly any plumbing. So, Robert says, another mossy day in LA. I'm getting the moss out of my Friday. It's the moss fun in 3 days. Holy hanging moss, Batman. It looks like the Moss Master's on live again. Moss back, moss front, moss bluff. Everything's mossy. Oh, Saltine, I'm sorry you'll miss it, man. I'm going to start trying to do them at different times, maybe some in the evenings and stuff. The problem is in the evenings, I like to kind of hang out with my family. So it's easy for me to do it right now between my morning work and then, early day. So let's see. Where we at? Hey, Robert, Charles, welcome to the chat. What's up, Lee? Glad to hear from someone from Texas. Oh, you're welcome, Dune. Do you like it? I love Altered Carbon. And that second season, I like the first season better so far, but I'm probably 3/4 of the way through the second season. I'm really enjoying it. So, oh, Rich, I said on the tracking that you should have gotten it before the live stream started. I've got a stack of postage somewhere. I may have already taken it down to the lab, but everything I've got like a stack of postage already printed, and then everything's going out tomorrow on the next postal pickup. So you should already have your tracking number, and it'll go live tomorrow morning. Eugene says, hi, Andrew from Cape Town, South Africa. Well, hello, South Africa. Welcome to East Tennessee. Dude says, I'm on the last episode of The Expanse. Yeah, man, I cannot wait. I blow through The Expanse so quick. I cannot wait for the next season. I'm glad Jeff Bezos bought that and kept it going, because otherwise it was going to stop. Though I do think that they probably stopped it. Like when they thought they were going to have to end it, they ended it in a way that could have ended the whole thing. You're welcome, Rich. Hey, Andrew, hope you're doing great today. Can I ask some questions about Morels? Yeah, absolutely. It is a Q&A. I'll ask away, Joe. What's up, Rocky River? Hey, I posted this on the Facebook group. It's going to cost about $150 to mail my $200 flow hood blower. Have you seen anyone use just an 8-inch inline fan for flow hoods? I'm trying to save some money on shipping. I have not seen anyone do that. Oh, Ben said that TR did. Was it successful?
He was building out a few flow hoods in the video.
Is that why he's been having 6 months of contamination?
I don't know.
You don't know?
All I'm saying is that it has been done.
So, Rock, is that on his YouTube?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what the video was.
Rocky River, we don't know what the video was, but TR Davis did it on Earth Angel Mushrooms YouTube channel. So, let's see. Dominic, hello from Quebec. What's up, man? He said, hello from Quebec. Happy to see you. This can't be sustainable for you. Are you talking about the amount of live streams? It is difficult. It's starting to get a little bit more difficult, and I will tell you guys that these live streams, either the live streams or the videos are going to have to slow down whenever we start doing our build out. So that being the case, the landlord for the warehouse is supposed to be calling me, so I may have to step away and take a phone call for a minute and then come back. So you guys may get a boring. If that happens, what I'll do is I'll try to take the the computer down somewhere, and you guys can watch the grow room, watch the mushrooms grow while I talk to them or something. But yeah, you're right. I don't think that this will be sustainable in the long run. So yeah, that damn hippie says hi. You're welcome, Rich. Man, I hope you enjoy them. Bloom and Boom and Mushbacks. What's up? It's Mossbacks. Well, Mushbacks kind of works. Actually, Mushbacks is kind of nice. Has a nice ring to it. Can absolutely imagine myself as some sort of little swamp creature with a bunch of mushrooms just growing out my back. But it says vented or non-vented petri dishes. I buy vented and then cover with parafilm after that they've been inoculated. Adam Big says, "What's up, bro? East of Cleveland, Ohio. Love you guys. Always great info." Yeah, man. Absolutely. Love you guys mush. I get it. Yeah, man. Well, welcome to East Tennessee. Or at least a portal to it. Sporadic, what's going on, man? Welcome to the chat. Feel like I just talked to you. Rocky River Mushroom says, pulls out wallet. Guess I'll go to the post office. Wait. Oh, for the flow hood? For the $150? Yeah, so shipping on the flow, any kind of flow hood equipment is always outrageous. It's always super outrageous. Unless you have a shipping dock, that'll knock, like, I'm actually really excited about getting this shipping dock that we're talking about doing, because it'll be like, all of a sudden I'll be able to get flow hoods and I won't have to have a lift gate service or anything. It'll just back up and we'll pull it off and we'll be done. My live streams are worth money. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm hoping that you mean they're worth money to me. But I know that they're probably worth money to you. At least I hope they're money to you guys. You guys seem like you enjoy them. Derek says, happy Friday. Can I grow portobellos on grain? You can grow the spawn out on grain. I don't know anything about fruiting portobellos. Paul Stamets growing gourmet and medicinal mushrooms. He covers portobello production pretty significantly, so you can probably check that out. But there's got to be some online information out there on it. That's probably hidden. I know the big guys like to keep their information to themselves quite a bit. I don't even think that they're trying to hide it. I think they're just so busy growing 1.2 million pounds a week that they can't really stop and talk to us guys. Too many live streams. I don't find any questions to ask. That's all right. You don't have to. There's tons of other people coming in. You can just listen to their questions. Let Ben take over for you if you go. So I would, except he's got to go to work in like 15 minutes. So if he calls like right now, then maybe Ben can take over until then. But I don't know when he's going to call. He just said later. I'm wondering 2 questions. Number 1, have you ever had problems with mites? Yes. Number 2, how do you get paid from your restaurant? And have you ever had any problems getting paid? Yes. So going into detail, mites are a problem. The best way to control them is to not let bags sit in your. Love you. Be very careful. If you need anything, call me. Okay. Where was I? Mites. So mites are a problem. Sealing with your dishes with parafilm helps quite a bit, like not relying on a clean room to take care of everything. And then, let's see. Having, I think Paul Stamos says he puts sticky mats down between his dishes, so that stuff that's going from one dish to another, like they'll climb down, they'll get stuck. But I think just closing up with parafilm is probably the best way to go. Also, not going. Always doing your lab work early in the day before you do work in the grow room, or if you work in the grow room, going, showering, getting clean clothes. Gas is important. Yeah, gas is important.
A way to pay for it is even more important.
That's true too. Every time she walks into the room, I just forget who I am and what I'm doing. Mites. Okay. I'm sorry it's taking me so long to answer this question. Parafilm your dishes. Never work in your lab dirty. Always manage your bags in your grow room and don't let them sit for too long. You're not trying to get every ounce of mushrooms out of a bag. You're trying to get a system down where your flow is keeping your production levels at a maximum. So, and then number 2, have I ever had a problem getting paid from my restaurants? Not most of them, because we do COD, check or cash on delivery. And with that, most of the times it's just, okay, well, look, if you don't want to pay, we just take the mushrooms with us, and that's fine. We'll go to someone who will pay. But that said, most of my chefs are it's one of the reasons why I like working with chefs instead of doing the farmers markets. There's very little in the way of haggling. These guys are pros. They know that you need to do what's good for you to be sustainable so that they can be sustainable, or at least that they can get your product. And so I like working with professionals. And if there's a chef that I'm working with who's an unprofessional chef, I just walk away. So there's that. However, I do have one client that's about a third of my total fresh mushroom business. It's a resort. It's actually, I guess, multiple resorts, but tied into one single hub. And they, for a long time, like I was paying up front, and then, taking a month to grow out your mushrooms, about 21 days to 30 days to get your first batch of mushrooms off of them, taking them to chefs, dropping them off, and then we were on a net 30 with them. So we waited 30 days and didn't get paid. And then it ended up taking like another 30 days before we eventually got paid by them. So that being the case, I was paying investment for an entire quarter before I would begin to get back for that investment. So, I mean, they was basically like an interest-free loan, a 3-month loan for them, in my opinion. And I had a problem with that. And so after a while, we eventually just told them we were going to have to stop delivering until we got paid. And we did stop delivering. Then we got paid. We started delivering, stopped getting paid again because we had created that gap. And the cycle kind of started over again. Come to find out, they had actually hired a third-party service. And what happened was the guy was taking the money, putting it into the stock market, doing something with it. I don't even know, because that stuff's just voodoo to me. And then whenever he would get paid back off those investments, he would pay us back, but he would have made money on it. So when they changed to the guy they've got now, they're paying like 3 weeks. They're paying like a week in advance, a week before their deadline now. So it's been much better, but we just kept complaining. I didn't want to drop them because they're famous across the entire country, and it's kind of like a reputation builder to have them. But, you do need to get paid, especially in the early days. So I always focused on COD. Got my flow hood at my new location already. Nice, Rocky River. Okay, so it's not. So that's not the problem that you're having. You're having to go to the post office to pay to get the fan shipped to you. What's up, Indri? The info you give out is like a light version consult. Yeah, that's kind of what this was the plan. To have those, what did we call them last week? The Chang Ho transmissions, where you guys are getting as much value as you can, but you're also kind of standardizing off my information in my systems and then creating unique variations that you guys then come back and tell me about, and I become a better grower too. So symbiotic. Plus, you guys buy my cultures. Like, you guys are hammering cultures out on the website. I just caught up, and then now I'm looking, and I'm getting orders, and I'm falling behind again. I'm not behind yet, but everyone tell Ben he had fans out there. He's the bomb. Ben, you have fans. They say you're the bomb. He said he knows. Hey, Seth, what's going on, man? Happy Friday. With your production level, have you ever thought of using the XLS tea bags for your spawn? I have one customer trying this out in a couple of weeks. I don't know what the XLS tea bag is. Is that the real long bags? Let me look that up real quick. Spawn-T. We're talking 0.2 microns. Oh, so you're just talking about using the T series is 0.2 micron. Oh my goodness. And the XLS is by Fruiting Block. I can actually fit more pounds of spawn per cook in using the 5-pound ones. So that said, I'm hoping that we're going to get a much better pressure cooker, but we did actually take grain spawn off the website. I am going to just work to catch up on all my grain spawn orders, and then I don't know when we'll start doing grain spawn again, because liquid culture is demanding a lot more time and attention, and it is far better for me and far more profitable, and it allows me to keep you guys happy. It stresses me out whenever I can't keep up with your orders, like heart palpitations, So I don't like that. I don't like confrontation. So I like to do a product that I'm good at. But that said, we're going to have tons of new cultures coming out in liquid culture, and I'm going to work to have ways that you get will make it easier for people who don't know how to use liquid culture to actually use that. And we'll do that on the channel as well. Hey, Jack from the Netherlands. Welcome to East Tennessee. Hey, Andrew, what is your thoughts on fruiting and shipping containers? I think it's a great idea. We thought about doing it for a while, but we're out. It's actually just cheaper just to get warehouse space where we're at. So, and a little bit better off. But I think that if you bought some land and just put shipping containers down and built them into grow rooms and labs and I think it would work very well. So, if you want more specific thoughts, you're going to have to ask a little bit more specific questions. Let's see. Joe inoculated 2 sterile seed spawn bags with self-healing injection plugs and with 6 cc's of Morel liquid culture. I'm going to jump down to the rest of your question because you're going to be getting drowned out. Oh,
Well,
haven't done it yet. See you, Ben. Have a good day. You said you red glowed the needle tip between each bag injection. This was completed on 2/27/20. So my Morel usually grows pretty quick, so I wouldn't be surprised if those bags are almost grown in. Mycelium growth was quick and showed both bags with a pretty light white mycelium. Now I have one bag that all the seeds are black, and one bag is still viable growing spawn. What happened to the bag that turned black? So if you shook the spawn and it died, there's usually a bacterial contamination. And usually I find that, especially if you've got one that's growing in clean, like if it's liquid bacterial contaminations and liquid culture express very early, in my experience. So when you have that where you shook it, and that basically what, in my opinion, happened is somebody didn't cook that bag properly. And if you bought a pre-sterilized bag, like off Amazon or something like that, what probably happened was there was a little spot that had some bacterial contamination in it. You injected it, provided a moist environment. The mycelium started growing out well because the bacteria was growing from a central spot, and the mycelium everywhere else was growing in fine. And when you shook that bag, that bacteria got spread everywhere and killed everything. That is, in my experience, what normally happens when you have a great growth and then a stall off after shake. But if it's only been like if it's only been like a day, I don't know when you shook it. Yeah, you didn't say when you shook it, so I don't know when you shook it. But if you shook it just like a day or two ago, give it a couple more days to recover. Bloomin' Boomin'. In general, how many grain bags do you expand from a 1-quart grain master? So I do anywhere from 2 to 4. It depends on how tight I am. If I'm really tight, I'll only do 2. I don't like doing that. If I can do a full pressure cooker worth of 5 or 6 bags, I'll do that. But you can do, I would do 1-quart spawn master, 1 master jar. Oh my gosh. 1-quart master grain spawn jar to, up to 10 5-pound sterilized spawn bags. Ben, he's the man. If he can't build it, nobody can. Mossback Mushroom Mafia. That's right. Yes, Ben is amazing. I actually sent him an idea for a shaker table where I saw somebody had just built it and then put a motor on the bottom and then a counter or like a little weight. And it basically just made it where it was off kilter a little bit. So the jars just kept constantly shaking a little. I thought that'd be a nice little shaker table. And pretty simple to build, looks like. Thank you for your great answers, Andrew. How long in weeks do your bags stay in your grow room? So two flushes usually. Like that's a standard that has a lot of variance to it based on what species is growing. Comb tooth bags we let sit in longer. We might get 4 or 5 flushes out of those. Oysters are usually 2 and done. So about 2 weeks is how long they'll sit in a fruiting room. But if we're talking chestnuts, they might take longer because they're a slow grower. Black poplar and the like. When we go to the new place, I'm planning on making species-specific grow rooms. Does your cough come from inhaling spores? A big beard is not really good to seal your mask on your face. So, Jack, you're absolutely right. It makes a big difference. The mask still does. Like I can tell, I can work in the grow room with that. It's pretty tight fitting. I can do all the tests and everything else, and I do get a little bit of leakage right down here, but for the most part, I'm getting very clean air. The cough is reactive airway disease. So I always, I have stress-induced reactive airway disease. My lung capacity is just fine. So it's not like asthma or anything where my capacity is actually lowered, but my flow rate is really low. So it like if I start getting really, really stressed or anything like that, I'll start feeling like I'm drowning because it just gets inflamed. What's up, Michael Mama? Glad to have you on the chat, as always. Let's see. Rocky River says, my new location is like 700 miles away. It's cheaper for me to fly down and mail than to drive. Oh, so you're moving ops. Okay. Are you still going to be Rocky River Mushrooms? Or are you changing your name after that? Zach Greenman said, if you did a live stream and a video once a week, I think we would all get the same benefit and would be a little easier on you. I love all the information you provide, but I've watched all your live streams and you continue to have to go over the same information in every video and sometimes 2 or 3 in the same video. Yeah, you're right about that, Zach. And I probably will slow down. The plan right now, Robin and I had a meeting yesterday. The plan going forward, and don't hold us to this, is to have 2 videos a week and like 1 live stream a week once we take possession of the warehouse. Because after that point, we're just going to have the cameras filming constantly in the warehouse to show you the build outs. The kind of videos you guys might get are like time lapses of grow rooms going up, or a lot of construction videos in the very beginning, that kind of thing. And then hopefully I'll have the internet hooked up really quickly over there. And from my new office, I'll be able to do live streams pretty easily. And when you guys have questions, I'll be able to just pick up the laptop and take you out there and express things to you. So, but I appreciate that, Zach. It's definitely going to slow down a little bit, but I'm just trying to get you guys taken care of as much as possible until we go about it. Sporadic says, I did a consultation with Andrew, and I 100% recommend to anyone thinking about it. Ben popped in for a bit, and in 5 minutes, he suggested an idea that resolved months of anxiety. Worth it. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I don't know if you want me to say your name or not, so I'm not going to say your name, but other than Sporadic. But thank you, man. Yeah, it was actually a really good pleasure. You were, as far as consults go, one of the most prepared consults I have ever seen in years of doing this. So feel good. And I'll get that letter of recommendation out to you tomorrow. Jeff said it'll be summer soon. 40C, 45C. What type of mushroom will be better? Well, I'm not sure where you're located and what access you have, but if you can get the LMZ, it's good oyster for summertime. As far as 40 degrees Celsius, what is that in Fahrenheit? 40 C to Fahrenheit. So 104. That LMZ will not work for you if you can't cool it. Milky mushrooms are supposed to be really good at temps like that. I don't remember what else. Pink oysters might. I don't know. That's pretty high though. Like that's really hot temperatures. You're gonna have to do a lot of cooling. Just 100%. You're gonna have to do cooling. Michael Mo says, "Hey, now relax. Don't stress. We understand. No need to have cardiac arrest happening." I'm, I get stressed. I'm a big ball of stress. I'm a stress eater. That's my job here, right? Is to just take in the stress and protect everyone else in the business from it. And I process the stress and then pay them, and they provide the materials to make the stress go away. Have I grown button, agaricus bisporus, and grow bags? I have not grown agaricus at all. So I bought the spawn one time for it very early on and never did anything with it, and it just sat there and rotted, and so I haven't done it since. And I'm too busy to doing all my other projects to try to grow that species. The next thing I'm going to really try is black poplar. I'm going to do a lot of black poplar. I've been packing bags for 3-4 weeks now on black poplar trials, different strains. I'm going to be breeding those quite a bit. I'm working on a breeding SOP for those because they are not as easy to breed as oyster mushrooms are. So while my first batches of oyster strains are being released gradually on the website, I'll be developing new black poplar stuff. Hopefully, I'm going to be working on other species as well. But buttons are not one I'm terribly interested in getting into. Plus, buttons are really difficult to breed. When there's most of their spores, like 99% of their spores produced, already have all the DNA they need to produce a full organism. So they can do single spore reproduction very easily, and they're just doing it with themselves basically. I think only 1% or less than 1% of their spores are haploid. So that, it's not easy to get the spore you need. Hi, how do you keep the warmth in the grow room? I understand that the mushrooms produce heat, but if you have constant fresh airflow from outside in and airflow out, then how does it stay warm? Well, my grow room's underground, so it is buffered. Also, you have my household heat, but we don't actually run heat in the wintertime because the incubation room produces so much heat that we only have to use space heaters in the living areas, and only one like the coldest of nights. Like right now, I've got no heat going. So, which I mean, it's not very chilly outside either, but it is March, and March is typically pretty cold. So with that going, you just have to preheat the air. Now, there are things that are heat recovery, heat exchangers, and the heat exchangers are absolutely worth it. Ben is going to be building one at the new op. Bradford Coons has really good videos on them, and he currently sells them. Once Ben gets a workable, shippable model, we'll be selling them as well. But Ben's method is going to be a bit different than Brad's for sure. Amanda says, you're helping us out a lot. Keep it up. Hey, Amanda, thank you very much. I'm always glad when I see you on the chat. Joe says, thanks, Andrew, for the answer on the Morel question. The black back has all seeds not showing any mycelium. Oh, bag. Seeds not showing any mycelium, and the seeds move freely. Might be time to tag and bag to the garbage. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know how many days it's been sitting there, but if it's been a few days, like a week, Morels are really quick. You see recovery next day. Like you'll see recovery and an inch of growth. Like I'll put a little piece of morel tissue in a petri dish, and it'll grow across the plate in like 2 days. So if it's not growing and it's been a couple days, then yeah, I would probably take it out. Curiosity, any good documentation to understand the different kind of contamination and why they appear, or the best way to investigate and find the origin of the contamination? So Jason and I were actually talking about this the other day, and I have already started on it. I am working on a contamination series. It is a little bit in depth, and it's going to have to take a pause during the build, but it is I'm doing microscopic time lapses. So time lapses with my camera through the microscope. I'm trying to do macro photography for it. I'm trying to learn how to identify molds so I can actually show you specific ones. But I guess I should do like an overall one. So, super chat. Sorry, guys. Let me take a pause and prioritize that super chat. Billy Nash says, you're a I don't know if I can say that. It's been 10 minutes. I'm a badass. Thank you. After your LC vid, I've decided to try it out. It's like magic. I have way more LC than I can use. Can't wait to need a consultation. Billy, you bring it, man. Congratulations. Thank you very much for the super chat. Yeah, man, liquid culture. I got sold, man. Lenny saw my video where I was like, and I talked about it. Like, I liked it, but it wasn't like all that. I wasn't sold on it yet, man. Lenny helped me get that to where I am sold on liquid culture. Liquid farming is the way of the future. Curiosity, going back, you asked about documentation specifically. I don't have any good documentation yet. The best thing that I can tell you is like Radical Mycology by Peter McCoy. He talks about it some. Paul Stamets has got a really good section on pest control and growing gourmet and medicinal mushrooms. I think that he does on mycelium running as well, but I could be wrong about that. I know that his pictures of mycelium running are way better. So I hope that helps. What's up, Mango? Welcome to the chat. Dune 1000. I got a jet. All you mushroom people stay cool. You too, Dune. I hope you got to hear me say goodbye. But goodbye, man. Glad to have you around. All right. Michael Mamas, much love, brother. Good to see you. Samantha is the most legit designer. She knocked it out of the effing park. You guys have a little gift from me. Well, thank you very much, Michael Mama. I like gifts. That's my love language. And you're right. She is effing legit. She is awesome. Let's see. Oh, and I liked the one. She did one that had a black background. It was oval, and it was the little T-Rex, and he was like reaching for these oyster mushrooms. And she highlighted it, and it did all lime green. And man, that black background with the white T-Rex and white oysters, and then the green, like radioactive green lining that she did accidentally looked amazing. And she's like, I don't think she said. I think she said something about you asked for not color or not something. I'm not sure, but Yeah, I like that was one of my favorites. I don't think she actually sent that one to you. I think she ended up changing the lines on it, but I loved it. It looked like radioactive. It was cool. Hi, my friends. When you added liquid culture to seeds, which degrees is best for growing room? So when you're wanting to incubate from your liquid culture, I'd do something like 65 to 70. I incubate all my stuff at 73 degrees. That's what I try to keep my lab at. Eugene Rawls said in SA, that's South Africa, you just simply can't find hardwood fuel pellets. However, hardwood shavings we do get. Do you reckon it's less effective because it's coarser compared to the hardwood fuel pellets? I don't think it's actually less effective. Sawdust is not. I mean, sawdust is not sawdust. But you can grow, like people grow on wood chips. People grow on like sawdust. People grow on planer shavings, but you have to be careful about that. From my understanding, I just read that last night in the CMGN. You're going to have to figure out your moisture content. It's just a little bit harder to work with. And even then, if like you don't have to be terribly careful, just add water to it and cook. And if it works, then just keep doing what you're doing. That said, I don't think that it's actually a lot of people have really good results using bulk sawdust, bulk shavings, bulk anything. So I don't think it's less effective. I just think it's a little bit harder to get your ratios. But that said, man, use it all you can. Wayne, welcome to the chat, Wayne. Got another band hammer in. Michael Mama said, okay, then that's it. Duly noted. My sister is being sent your way. I'll just pay her to be the resident massage therapist on staff so you can stop stressing her. At least if you do, you can take a time out. Hey, I love massages. One of my weekly indulgences is a 2-hour massage by my cousin's wife, which she is pregnant and about to give birth. So I'll probably be out of that indulgence for a little bit. And tell you how awesome this woman is. I was stressed as heck yesterday. I was dropping stuff, and I had a massage the night before. And I just woke up and I was stressed. And she was on the phone with Samantha, and I heard her, and I said, "Man, I've ruined all your good work last night because I've been so stressed today. And yesterday was a rough day." And she came over and did a free 30-minute like chair massage for me, just working on my shoulders. Now she like got her elbow in and worked these knots out that I had. And she's like, these knots were not here last night. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, you got to stop doing that crap. So I'll always take massages. You just let me know when and where, my good mama. Samantha, if it's a female massage therapist, I won't do it unless Samantha's around. So Taylor Bell says, I love you guys at Mossy Creek Mushrooms. Now producing oysters, lion's mane, chestnut mushrooms using the techniques I learned from your videos, and they are awesome. Hey, congratulations. You've been bitten by the bug. It only gets more expensive from here. It gets better from here. Yeah, it's been a week, Joe. Yeah, then toss that bag and start again. If it was from the same syringe and you've got one that's good, then you've got the culture you need. I mean, it only takes one. You know that. You're a biologist. Why am I talking to you? You know better than I do. Bill Barnes, if I grow liquid culture from purchased liquid culture, what recipe would you recommend for my growing media? So I get asked this question probably 3 or 4 times every live stream. My quick response is 500 milliliters of water, a half a tea-level teaspoon of malt extract, and 20 grams of corn sugar or dextrose. That is the best media I have had so far. Yeah, Taylor, you're very welcome. Thank you for thinking we're awesome. Ohio Grassman, you mentioned earlier haggling at farmers markets. What are your thoughts on that? Are you stern with your prices if people try to offer less? Yes. I don't haggle. I know what I'm worth. If you don't know what I'm worth, that's on you. Like that's just the way it goes. Like I know I'm not out to screw people over. I'm charging what I need to charge to make a living at this so I can keep doing this and do it better. And if the market tells me I'm charging too much, like regularly, then obviously I'll have to reassess how my business works to make it more profitable. But other than that, no, I mean, I'm very stern. I don't like haggling. When people would haggle with me, I'd be like, the price is doubled. We're not at a flea market, I'm not somebody just selling my worthless junk. I'm someone. I'm not saying that people run businesses out of flea market. The best beef jerky I ever get is at a flea market, but I don't haggle with him. That's his business. Mossy Creek Mushrooms. I wonder if it's Robin. Hey, Robin. We are loving all these reviews and recommendations. Please leave us a review on Google when you have a second. We really appreciate all your support. Yeah, guys, if you guys have done anything service with me and you've had a good experience, hell, if you've had a bad experience, I would prefer you not put the bad experience on there. I'd rather you talk to me first and give me a chance to make it right. But if you had a good experience with me, please especially go out there on my Google business page and give me some reviews. It is amazing how much business I do, and people tell me how happy they are. And very seldom do you get good reviews, but the bad reviews always go up first. Michael Mama says, I love all of it. I'm going to pay her to do some color ones for my T-shirts. I would love to see green. I was thinking about chartreuse, and purple or marbled. I like the idea of marbled, but Samantha might kill me if I tell you to go with that one. The green was awesome. It's definitely not going to be as pretty as like chartreuse or purple, but it was very like just striking and cool looking. Like made you think Jurassic Park kind of stuff. I will say, I'm surprised she did that many for you and was going to resize them because that takes her so long. Like that's a lot of time to go in there and resize each one. So I actually told her that I thought she should give you a call and see if you have specific ideas for which one so that she can resize specifically for those things instead of resizing each one for everything, because that's a lot of work on her. That said, she may or may not take my advice. So I'll leave that up to you guys. 3Q. In Canada, we can get hardwood fuel pellets at Canadian Tire, an automotive household hardware outdoor type store. That sounds like a Canadian store. I like it. That sounds amazing. Eugene Rail, thanks so much, man. You're very welcome. I don't remember what I helped you with, but you're very welcome. Cantal Singh says, hi. Hello. Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you here. Bearded Bullets. Hey, I made an LC of Morel, and it is floating, and I'm assuming not enough airspace on the top. Am I right? I am assuming not enough airspace on the top. Usually that's the strength of your stir bar. If your stir bar isn't strong enough, it won't be able to pull it down. I actually have on my Instagram. So if you guys want to check out my Instagram, our business Instagram is Mossy Creek Mushrooms. My personal Instagram is Myco Miner, like a miner of mycology. Not as in a miner as in a guy who goes and he digs up valuable things, right? That kind of thing. So if you check that out, there is I think it's the last post or the post before last. I actually show one of my stir bars and how it cannot pull the mat down from the top. And usually with those, I have to give it a little strong shake and get that mat to start spinning, then turn on the stir bar and then let it suck it down and rip that mat apart so it'll stop going up. But usually a strong enough stir bar and stir will help you with that. I actually saw it and it's over there. I'm so wanting to go play with them. I want to, but I'm being disciplined and I'm here with you guys. I want to go play with my new stir plates. I got 2 new ones in while I'm waiting on my B17 themed one from Ben. Oh man, this B17 themed stir plate is going to be awesome. Also, that project may take a slight delay with the warehouse build out. I'm so excited about this warehouse, but I'm so stressed too. Robert, what are your feelings about having to leave your house for the new op, and how much more stress will that add to your life being gone? Seems like it would be a lot to alter everything. It is incredibly stressful just thinking about it. But this is the way I normally do things. I normally stress about things, and then I end up going like overboard with the anticipation, and then when I get into it, my mind just goes calm. I go calm. Everything's fine, and I don't stress anymore. And I don't know why that is. It's probably bad thinking habits. I probably need to change my habits on how I think about things. But it is the way it is at the moment. So my feelings on it are that it's only like 4 minutes from my house, this new warehouse. The one we were looking at the first time I mentioned it was in Strawberry Plains, which was about 20 minutes away. The one that we decided on is like 3 or 4 minutes away and is the old farmers co-op for Mossy Creek. Oh, it's so cool. It's right on Mossy Creek, so it sticks with our name. It's And it being in the old Farmers Co-op, there's the faded co-op sign where they had been painted on the side. I feel so much better about this place. Like, it's going to be right. Like, I got Samantha can work there. The lady, I mean, we're a very female heavy crew. There's Ben and I and Jason, but Jason's our only male employee. Other than that, all of our other employees are female. So very woman heavy. And I was a little bit worried about any of them ever going up there and working by themselves in a warehouse in the middle of nowhere in a rough area. This other one is in a nice area of town. It is in the old city. Jeff County is also, it's a pretty well-to-do neighborhood county. It's really close. It has a security fence with razor wire around it, so that if the ladies want to close the gate, they can be very safe. I'm very excited about that. So it means that I won't be so worried about the ladies working there, taking videos, being distracted, because it's just a nicer place. So it's also got shipping docks. The other place, we had a handshake deal where we were going to go through someone else's warehouse to get the shipping dock, and I don't like handshake deals. They always worry me when I don't have some way to back up what my negotiations been. So this place has got 4 shipping docks. So just built in, and it'll be right there next to the incubation space that we're planning. So it means that I'll actually be able to be a block purveyor to you guys. I'll be able to make blocks, sell blocks. You guys can go right up to the dock and load them up and then take them off. So we'll still only be doing local pickup for a while because shipping is just so expensive. I can't compete with the likes of TR Davis when he's getting those Brazilian blocks. He's getting those Brazil blocks, and I think he's selling them for $3 or $4 for a 10-pound block. I mean, now when you get it shipped to your place, I think it ends up being close to my price, but that's shipped to your place. My place is, you'd have to come to me. So he's giving you the same price for having it shipped to you. Mine would be the same price for coming and picking it up. So he's still a better deal. I just can't compete with that cheap labor in Brazil. So there's a lot of stress to it, man. It's more than doubling my rent. It's more than doubling my cost of doing business. Heck, one thing I didn't factor in was getting a new router. And we've got Cat 5 cable and all that stuff. We've got a network specialist who's going to help us set up a network over there, but it's so much larger, I can't just use a household router. It's going to be more expensive to set up everything. So I'm a little stressed. That said, I think it's actually going to make I'll be able to cleanly delineate work hours. So I'll be able to actually rest in the evening, and I won't be I won't be there when I'll come home, and I'll be able to be home, and then I'll go to work every day, and I'll be working 7 days a week unless I'm on vacation. But at least on the weekends, I can just go in and do my daily checks, do whatever transfers I have to do, and then just go home. And I guess I got the rest of that time, unless I can get maybe Jason or Laura or someone else to come in and do some weekend work. But I'm interested in liquid culture. Could you please tell me how to make liquid media? Is it just potato and dextrose? How much cc of liquid culture is required to inoculate 1 kilogram of grain spawn? Go watch my liquid culture videos. Those will tell you all those questions. Jaden says, "Lol, hey guys." Hey Jaden, welcome to the chat. Michael Mama says, "I like your idea with hagglers. I always kind of feel, compelled somehow to bend to them as a patron for fear that they might shit talk me. Did you feel that way in the beginning?" Yes. I don't like confrontation. I never did. Excuse my French, but whenever I realized that I was going into business, it would get to the point where I'd get a phone call and I'd kind of flinch because I had done business and I had failed at providing good customer service because I was so overwhelmed. And then I eventually got to this point where I was just it was every time it was oh my God, the phone, it just won't stop. It hurts. And it's always a bad call. And I'm always messing up, and I've never been able to get all this stuff right, And so it was hell. I had 2 panic attacks at the time. So Ben and I were talking about it, and where he was becoming a manager and I was having to manage this business, we both started talking about the importance of having a backbone when you need one. Because we both used to be nice guys that you could walk all over all day long because we would give you anything you asked for. And then Ben came up with this concept called exercising the inner asshole. And you basically that your ability to set boundaries and everything is it's like a muscle that's got to be trained. So we would start being, how do I say this without sounding terrible? We would start being cruel. No, not cruel. Like we weren't like malicious, but we would start like causing little confrontations in everyday life, um, just to get that experience, in a safe way. And we would start like by calling people out on things like little boundary issues and things like that, being more firm with our boundaries. I definitely took it too far. My mom even told me at one point that that she liked me better the old way. And I told her, yeah, that's because I'm exercising my inner asshole. She did not like that saying at all. And then later on, we've talked about it. And she's like, she likes that I practice boundary setting. She does like it. She appreciates it now. But it was really difficult because I had never liked that confrontation. I grew up very sheltered. My family cares about me and my needs. I never had to fight to have my needs heard because my family did, they cared about it. They listened to me. So it became very difficult to do that kind of stuff. So eventually I started practicing it to where I had to realize that I am worthy because I am me, right? And no one's going to consider me quite as worthy as I'm going to consider me. No one's going to be as good of a friend to me as I am. Or at least, rather, I should be my best friend. I should treat myself like my best friend would treat me, which means defending myself too, right? And so I started doing that stuff. And with hagglers, I basically just had to practice. And the first time I did it, a little thrill went up my spine. And I just kept, I didn't have the mental capacity to handle the emotions and a conversation. So I just stood firm and I just kept pushing it. And then eventually I became more humorous about it. It became easier. To like express those things, And so you got to just exercise that muscle. I feel like I hope that's useful information to you guys. Like it became really difficult. I also had to just become okay with people shit talking me. And now it's like a water running off a duck's back. I can handle it much easier. It's like, I don't care. Why would I care? I did something like I danced real weird, in public the other day. My mom said, or no, Samantha said, I don't know. Somebody said something about it. I was like, I don't care. And they're like, well, what are the people going to think? And I was like, what do I care? I'm not going to see them again. Or they're going to see a guy who's enjoying life. What do I care if people see me enjoying life, And they're like, yeah, that makes sense. So it's one thing to know it, and it's another thing to feel it. Let's see. Speaking of LC, I've had my very first mushroom. I have grown, and it's lion's mane. Can I just cut some interior portion of the fruit and drop it in LC? You can. It is not as likely as growing it out on agar, but if you watch, I have a video where I talk about needle biopsies, and basically what you're talking about is a version of the needle biopsy. But you can do that. I've done it, and it works. It does seem like it runs a higher risk of contamination. Did miss where you explained water agar to clean up cultures. So I haven't done a video on that. If you're talking about I haven't done one on this one yet. I've talked about it in videos, but I haven't shown a video on it. It's real simple. It's just agar working on what's called water agar. Water agar is just water and agar. And basically what it is you're just robbing the substrate of nutrients because mycelium can transport nutrients back and forth. They can also make better use of what's around them than what bacteria can. So they can grow while like bacteria is having to eat where they lay. Mycelium can continue to grow through that bacteria out somewhere to safety and transport nutrients back and forth. So you just select from right here where it's clean and then put it on regular agar and you're good. I've had nothing but good experiences watching and learning from you. I gave you 2 5-star ratings on Google. Thank you very much. I didn't know you could do 2, but thank you very much for that, Adam. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me when you guys pat me on the back. What's up, Sergio? And Robert says, how do you make it? So 10 grams agar, 500 milliliters water, put it in a flask. You just treat it like agar after that. Cook it for 15 minutes or for 30 minutes at 15 psi with the flask stoppered with polyfill and capped with aluminum foil. If you watch my agar videos, you can see how I make agar. Just make it with 10 grams agar and 500 milliliters water for the water agar instead of the recipe that's there. But otherwise, you just treat it like agar. Wayne says, my apologies for missing a couple of streams. Been busy helping a friend at the local mechanic shop. Last of my kit will be here tomorrow. I'll be starting my cycle starting Monday. Congratulations, Wayne. You don't have to apologize, man. I appreciate you being around, but you don't get paid for this. This is voluntary, so I don't have any expectations on you. I just appreciate the good work you do. Jaden says, "Yes, women crew, yay." Yeah, I mean, I like my girls. My girls work. They work harder than probably any of us men do. So, Jason's a pretty hard worker. So Jason works twice as hard as I do, or Ben does, though. Joe says, "Is it easier to sell autoclave bags with a 5mm impulse compared to a seal? Oh, sorry, seal, not sell. Yes, it is much easier with 5mm. I find that it makes a more consistent bag that pops a lot less. The 2mm are trash. I do not like them. I will be honored to come help with your build. I have my own insurance. Gotcha. Let's discuss when you have time. I have tons of Hilton honors points, so it won't be anything for me to come and enjoy Tennessee. Bring it, Michael. Or Mama. I forget, I always call you Mama. Yeah, bring it. We'll love to have you over. And I appreciate the offer very much. Thank you. Rocky River says, "Any interest in upgrading automation?" Yes. Ben, in our warehouse, Ben is going to be putting a mushroom equipment workshop at about 1/4 or 1/3 of the total area. He's getting CNC machines or CNCs. We're putting his welder in. He's not actually been able to do any welding here where we're at, so we're putting the welder in. We got woodworking equipment. We'll be building baggers and having those. So you guys, like right now, when you guys buy baggers from us, I'm only selling one at a time because there's a big waiting list. In fact, Ben's got one for a guy named Don that's got to head out, and then one for a guy named Mike. And those are I can't sell any more than that because Ben won't let me because we've got no room to build more baggers. When we get this new place, that's gone. We'll sell all the baggers you guys want. So set up a 24-hour mushroom stream of just the blocks. Okay, so you want like a live stream of the grow room, or do you want a live stream? You're talking about a live stream, right? So do you want a live stream of the grow room or of the bag production process? Because I can absolutely do a live stream during bag production. I'll have to figure out music because we like to listen to a lot of music. Jason listens to a lot of music in particular. And so I don't know, I'd like to be able to have the music. And you guys may hear some inappropriate jokes and the like, so I will have to be careful of, I'll have to look at the rules. But just let me know, are you wanting grow room or are you guys wanting live streams while we're working? We could probably do both, just let me know. That actually would be interesting content to produce. Let's see. Also, have you considered doing about 40% of your production in bottles? Why 40%? Why 40%? And are you talking about fruiting or are you talking about grain spawn? What exactly are you talking about? Sporadic. Will you keep your home up in operation while you get the warehouse up and running, or will you run both simultaneously? So yes, I will. So in the beginning, we're going to keep the op here going. And then we'll start transferring, we'll keep making blocks here. We'll inoculate them, and when they're ready we'll load them in our truck and trailer and take them over to the new op and put them in incubation. While bags are incubating over there, Ben will be building the grow room. And when Ben builds the grow room and it gets it finished, those blocks will transfer over there. We will be robbing some of the equipment from the current grow rooms just to make it easier and cheaper on us. Though, actually, now I think about it, I've already bought the fans and I don't know what we would have to rob, but whatever. We're going to keep this going until we get successful crops over there. Then we're going to build the next grow room and the next grow room. But before that, we'll have set up like a pop-up lab for production. And I'm going to keep a private lab here for the time being for culture work and the like. And then we're going to do, when we go to the new warehouse, I will have a office. Samantha and I will be probably sharing an office. We'll have the new private lab. We're going to have a spawn room, and then we'll have a production lab. And so when we survive the summer at the new place, we'll move everything over. But we're going to leave all the shelving and everything in place here so that if the summer heat kills us over there and we just can't make it and we fail hard, we'll be able to collapse back in on what we've been doing, what we know works. But beyond that, no. As soon as I can get the concept proven at the new place, I'm moving out of here because number one, it creates more stable business having it in the warehouse, and number two, I want my home back. It's been a long time. I'd like for my boys to not have to share a room when they sleep. I would like for Ben to not be sleeping in his coffin. We'll give him a whole cave that he can put the coffin into to sleep in. I'll probably have a small studio space for media production kind of stuff, for private stuff, or I may build a fish room where I can play with guppy breeding and things like that. Or a brewing. I may build a brewing room where I just brew beer all the time, and whenever I forget about it, it's okay. That may be what I do. I don't know. But see, that's the thing. Having a house will help me with that. What is the ideal temperature for most of the oyster mushrooms? So I try to fruit everything that I grow. Everything you see me grow is fruited at 65 degrees, ideally, and then incubated at about 70 to 73 degrees. So any reason at all to have a window in the incubation room will alter the process. So we try to keep it dark. You want it dark unless you're working in there. It can create premature pinning in the bags. Rocky River says, oh, I lost it. There we go. When I first started out at the farmer's market, those people were straight killers that would try to rob you if they could. Yeah, the hagglers. Yeah, they would. What I have found is that I don't work with people that I don't like working with. That's one of the great things about owning a business. And it's one of the things that many entrepreneurs, business starters, managers, whatever, owners, most of them in the beginning feel that pressure to serve everyone and chase every dollar. And I found that it's better for me to tighten my belt and deal with the people that I wanted to deal with, because I kept doing repeat business with them. And then as my repeat business built, I didn't have to tighten my belt as much anymore. And as you guys can tell, I had to loosen it. But that being the case, it's more enjoyable to do business with people that I enjoy doing business with, and it's more sustainable that way. Plus, I have found that people who try to haggle, so I did a half consult one time for somebody where I let them do a 1.5 hour consult and then pay me $300. And one thing a lot of people don't realize what my consults are, after that 3 hours, I don't actually drop you that. And then, I probably don't want this getting out too much, but my big thing is with the 3 hour consult, you've bought my time and you showed me that you were serious when you didn't, when you did that. And so this guy did a half consult. He needed more hand holding than anyone I've ever met, probably because he didn't get the full consult, and really ask all his questions. I was irritated with him for paying me only half and then taking up more time. So I was already irritated by it. He was irritated by it. He never paid me the second half. I didn't drop him. I treated him like every other consult. Anytime anything went just a little bit wrong, he'd be right up my butt instead of trying to solve it himself. And then before coming to me with this problem. And then on the other side of that, it became like he would message me, wait a minute, then message me, and then wait a minute, and then message me. And if I didn't answer, he would blow up. And so what I have found is that typically when people won't respect your boundaries, they're not going to respect your boundaries in business, so they're not worth doing business with. Because how in the world are you going to do business when people are walking all over your boundaries? They're not listening to you. Arlo's Cafe Noir, what kind of mushrooms? I grow oyster mushrooms primarily, but other specialty exotics. Michael Mama, you are exactly like me. I had a dude in Spore Swap on Facebook say that my prints weren't the size of his and complained to admin. I have this fear of talking shit about me and getting a bad name in the community in general. I don't need that. I try to do the opposite and take care of people. So I don't know what's the problem with your prints. What's the size matter? You just need spores. I take spore prints sometimes off mushrooms that are that big. Why is he complaining? Robert Webster, I do not grow lion's mane. I grow comb tooth and I grow bear's head. I'm about to start growing lion's mane because you guys have requested it so much that I have to. It's a big money missed opportunity if I don't start growing lion's mane. Now I'm going to take my time and find a strain that I like, because I don't sell anything I don't like. I don't recommend anything I don't like. I don't recommend or sell anything I don't currently use. So I'm going to wait and take my time and find a lion's mane that I actually really enjoy to grow, and then I will grow it and I will sell it to you guys. Joe says there's a series of books that teach you how to set boundaries. Boundaries in marriage, boundaries with teens, boundaries in dating. They are great help you deal with boundaries. I'll have to check that out. Being able to set boundaries and keep your boundaries and hold them is one of the most important skill sets in life, in my opinion, hands down. And the problem is that Ben's a super altruist. Samantha's a super altruist. I'm a super altruist. We're all idealist personality types. We want everyone to be their ideal. We assume everyone's going to treat us fairly, and it got us in trouble in the early years a lot. So being able to learn to set boundaries, which is actually something my mom had talked to me about for years, and I didn't listen. But being able to set boundaries is incredibly important. Alan Bell says, Mossy, how hard was it to find and develop your markets? I feel like I could raise mushrooms. Just selling them is what scares me. Yeah, that's the hardest part of the growing mushrooms. That said, if you're growing quality ones, they usually just sell themselves. The best way I've found to sell them is to take sample boxes to your chefs. Never your best sample box, always your second or third best, and never your worst. You want to give them a good idea of what they're going to be getting on a regular basis. And they're not going to be getting your best box every week. Only one person's going to get that. So the best thing to do is to take them a box, ask to speak to the person that's in charge of purchasing produce. Make sure you do it at a time between lunch and dinner or before the lunch rush, not during a rush, because they will not give you the time of day. When you get to that person who is in charge of purchasing produce, realize that they are a busy person and their time is very important, and treat them so. And then hand them the box and make sure your card's there plain as day, and just tell them to call you if they're very interested. I don't even open the box. I'll let them open the box on their own time. And I just make sure that it's a box that's representative of our average product. I used to give my best box, and I found that created disappointment, created room for disappointment. Whatever room you create in life, it's going to be filled by whatever purpose it sets, or whatever intention it sets, right? So if you set that intention, that room for that space in your life where people expect the best of the best of the best of what you do, but you do it to everyone, then only one person's going to be pleased, and they're not even going to be that pleased because you just met their expectation. If you bring them your third best box of mushrooms, or your average box of mushrooms, when they get those really nice boxes, they are not disappointed. They are surprised and pleased. And when they get something that's a little bit on the lower end, they're not horrified. They just recognize that that's a little rough, but it's acceptable. And I found that is the easiest way to keep people happy. But the best way to get them in the first place is to bring them that sample, bring them a full case. Don't bring them a little teeny tiny something overproduced. Bring them that full case. Tell them that, and when they ask you if you can produce it, just say, look, if you're willing to commit to 1 box a week, I will plant the same amount of blocks for you in my grow room every week. And I will just deliver it to you. You don't have to worry about texting me, calling me, whatever. I will just show up with that same type of box every week. And, that will help me be reliable, because you need me to be reliable. And that will be the easiest way for me to be reliable. And I found that sales pitch works really well. Kathy says, if water agar is so good, why don't we use that all the time? Because it's not good for growing. There's no nutrients in it. The mycelium grows really anemically, grows really thin. It will eventually run out of energy. So it is for cleaning up only. Wondering how you like your Odin classes. I'm thinking of signing up. They sent me the wrong code, so I was trying to get in and I couldn't get in. I just got the right code yesterday, so my first class will be tonight. I'll be able to tell you going forward, Kathy, what I think about it. But knowing Josiah, it's going to be fantastic. He's keyed in. He's a really good guy. He's usually really enjoyable to talk to, which I haven't got to talk to him in a very, very long time, and I doubt he even remembers me. But knowing Josiah and the kind of quality he does, I think they're going to be good. That said, ask me again in a couple of weeks, and I'll let you know. Does anyone in chat know if agar is expensive on Amazon? That's where I got mine. Seems expensive. 56 grams for $12 Canadian, $8 US. So you can buy like 250 grams and things like that. So let me find the agar that I have listed in my Amazon list. Excuse me. And I will show you exactly. I might have to do that later. See, there's maltodextrin, so moist. Oh, I know how you can find it. Okay, I know how you can find it. It'd be easier than I can just tell you. Go to my agar video series. It's like the last 2 videos that came out on our YouTube channel, and there is a link to bulk agar in the description of those videos. What's up, Paul guy? Unberry Paul. Unberry Paul. Hey, brother, when sterilizing your 5-pound bags in Presto Canner, how deep do you put your water, and is there ever a concern for water going into the filter patch? So bags that go in upside down. The filter patch is folded up to where it is basically sitting on top of the bottom of the bag. You know what I mean? And I fill the water all the way up just below the top of those blocks, and then I just put the rest of my grain spawn bags in right side up, and I always fold it filter patch against the plastic, and that keeps water out of my bags, and make sure that I have plenty of water for a good 2.5 hour cook, because that does use up some water. Though you just want your weights to be hissing. You never really want your weights like shaking, because you're losing pressure every time you do that. Just back the heat off till it's like, kind of like that, and that's all you really want. Ever thought about trying to grow truffles? Yes, like everyone else, I have absolutely thought about. Oh my gosh, the sun decided to come out. Yes, I know a lot of people who have worked on it, and it is expensive and does not bear much fruit yet. So, because I got to make a living, I really focus on the things that I can do value extraction pretty easily with and systematize. With the truffles, I'm really going to have to discover. There's a lot of research on that and not a lot of success stories. Adam says, different accounts, my wife as well. Lol. 3 5-star ratings now. Oh my gosh. Hey, don't inflate it too much. Like, let's not lie or anything like that. I hope that's all you're doing. But if you've got enough material for 3, I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate the 5 stars for sure. I just don't want you to incriminate yourself. I've been self-teaching mushrooms about 6 or 7 years now. I watch and read everyone and everything I can. Currently, you're most helpful. Wow, I'm the most helpful? Me? You sure about that? Guys, I feel like there are people way better than me. But thank you. Oh my gosh, that's flattering. Leon says, how often per week do you harvest and make deliveries? We harvest every day. We make deliveries twice a week. Wayne says, I would watch live stream while you're doing daily chores. Okay. You're talking about like working? Or are you talking about like me sweeping the floors? Michael Mama says, truthful 5-star review left. Thank you, Michael Mama. I really appreciate that. You've always been good to us, darling. Ever since we met you like a month ago, I really appreciate it. Farmer Mac, what's up, brother? How many pounds of mushrooms do your restaurants buy at a time, approximately? Do you deliver once or twice a month? We deliver once or twice a week. Twice a week, every Tuesday and Friday. Samantha's delivering right now. How many pounds do they order? I mean, we have chefs that order 10 pounds a week. We have some that order 30 pounds a week, and we have some. Blackberry Farm is our largest client, and they order. Well, right now they're at 200 pounds a week, but they want to go higher than that, and I can't do it yet. So, Lance says, sorry, if it's fish, says, I would gladly pay you Tuesday for some mushrooms today. Jason, are you messing with me? I don't. Or are you messing with somebody else? Is there somebody named Tuesday in the chat? And I missed their question? Lance says, I've never heard an inappropriate joke. Is that just a myth? I mean, I agree. I agree, technically. All jokes are inappropriate. That's what makes them jokes. They interrupt the fabric of life. Doug Durr says, what about truffles? Have you tried to spawn them? Like I said earlier. So it's not ready. It's just not ready yet. The SOPs aren't. Pluto says, hi, everyone. I have my music and my work area for sure. I pasteurized and inoculated my first 12-pound hardwood alfalfa of blue oyster yesterday. I'm using them to test the whole lab to fruit process. Heck yeah, man. Let me know how that goes. And let me know what supplementation rate you used. I'd be very interested to know what your supplementation rate is and how successful the grow is in. Heck, man, if you can take pictures and send them to us of your constellations, all the little spawn points growing in, I'd love it. Mark, I watch you from Quebec City. Hey, Quebec. Bonjour. Good job, and don't stop your excellent job. I learned a lot. Thank you very much. I'm glad to have you on. Robert says, thank you, Azure Spa's great brain. Oh, okay. Doug Dorsis has set a boundary for only good beer. Yeah, you got to, man. Why drink? Drinking is damaging on your body. Only do it if you're going to enjoy it. Kathy says, I saw on your website that you sell oyster powder. Was it popular, and what did you charge for it? So we did sell it. We don't. Oh my goodness. We don't sell it anymore. We were doing it in 8 dram, 4 dram, 8 dram, and jelly jars. So 4 dram vials, 8 dram vials, and then jelly jars. And we were doing the jelly jars for $10, or $12, the 8 dram for $8, and the 4 dram for $4. And it sold like hotcakes, especially during Christmas time. People bought it for stocking stuffers. I still use it, though I don't produce it as often as I would like to. We may have to move, guys. And it is delicious. Like just putting it on a steak or something. It is amazing. Hello from Kamloops, British Columbia. Well, hello from East Tennessee. You're very welcome, Alan. Do you incorporate a delivery fee into your charge for your mushroom boxes? Only if they're not on a route. If we can build a loop route back home and incorporate them, we will. Otherwise, we charge a delivery fee. So like Blackberry Farm is a good hour out of our way. So we charge each restaurant a delivery fee. And they're absolutely cool with that. Doug Door truffles, they are being farmed in the Netherlands. Yeah, I mean, they are. They're just... they're farmed here in East Tennessee too, but they just don't have consistent crops. Do you precondition? And plus, it's a lot of money up front for a long wait before you get any money back. You precondition the air or just fog and air separate? We do just do the fog right now. When we move into the warehouse, we're going to do swamp coolers to precondition the air. So, I mean, the best, in my opinion, obviously, is the precondition. We're going to air condition it, then run it through a swamp cooler, and then run it through the fogger. Thomas says, hi from Norway. Hello. Welcome. Precondition if you can at Mush. That's what Rocky River said, and I agree. I've been enjoying a week's leave, and you have joined me with most of it, lol. I went back and watched some of your older vids. I absolutely enjoyed your video on smoked mushrooms. That looks like, yes. Oh, man. It's warming up outside these days. I might have to go do some more. Do you have an alternative to the aluminum foil to cover the shrooms? No, and I haven't found a good alternative other than maybe a metal sieve or something like that is what I would think of. You gotta have something you can have holes in, but you don't want it to be just free airflow because I want them to cook, but they do dry out really quickly. Also, will we ever get to see how you make mead? Yes, there is a video. Sorry, guys. Hey, Mama, you're on speaker during a live stream.
I'm so sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. I just figured everybody might want to hear from the Mush Mama.
Hi, everybody.
Mama says hi, everybody.
I will let you go. You can call me later.
All right, I love you, Mama.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. I always answer if it's my mama or my wife. If there's something wrong, I want to know, and I will kill the feed immediately and go help them. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. Patty, by the way, I have a mead making video on here. It's just how I make my Forest Dwellers mead, but I'm going to be making some more meads on the channel as the year goes on. And love back to you in Liverpool. How much cc's of liquid culture is required to inoculate 1 kilogram of spawn? So a kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So how about half a kilogram, would be I use up to 10 cc's of liquid culture to do it, but you can get away with like 1 or 2. So, what varieties do you put in your shroom boxes? Everything I grow goes in. Like we have a mixed oyster box, and then we do specialty boxes, and we can do a mixed specialty box for people. So, but it's that I do mixed because I was actually just talking about this with Joe Cicerello on the phone earlier today, which he's in the chat right now, or at least he was earlier. I think he may still be around. I haven't seen anything from him in a minute, but the varieties that we grow, I grow a large amount of varieties, and some chefs like it and some chefs don't. And I always try to listen to a chef, but I let them know that I don't ever guarantee a certain variety. If they absolutely hate something, I'd try not to ever give them what they hate ever again. Samantha has a whole list of like, this chef likes golds, this chef hates golds, this chef, like on our refrigerator. So we know as we're getting boxes ready for the day, what goes to who by looking at the boxes. But it's something that we absolutely try to do a mixed box. The reason why is I don't want to do a monoculture. Everybody there for a while was growing the North Spore King, and everybody was having blotch problems. I switched strains to one of my old strains and didn't have any more blotch problems with the Kings, or at least not as much problems. I think with the blotch already being in my room, I did have some infection rate. But I did a side-by-side, North Spore and the other King. And it's not North Spore's fault. It's just that everybody was growing the same culture across the entire country, and everybody was having the same problems. And I think that we were just had a blotch disease that was going through that was finding that particular strain to be weak to it. So I try to grow a variety of oyster mushrooms because it protects me from having a huge crop loss. It does complicate some things a little bit, but then I just make my sales system simpler where I just basically say, hey, this is what I grow. If you want just blue oyster, I can't guarantee that, but I will try to get you just blue oyster every time. But be aware that I might give you a white oyster that's very blue-like. And I try to keep everyone in mind, but only to a certain point, because I got to protect my business, and I've got to make sure I've got to have good varieties, and that we're not susceptible to that monoculture pestilence. Check out gel electrophoresis. I think it is what you need for your research. PCR makes more DNA, while gel is what they use to tell samples are related. Yeah, so you're absolutely right about that, Eric. In fact, you may have been the guy that emailed me that I've been putting off because it's such a long email. I'm wanting to give a thoughtful response to. But that's absolutely what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to do both. PCR is for amplifying DNA to make more of it. That is also something I'm interested in, though you are right to call out because I said it was for the identification, and I am wanting to go for the gel electrophoresis. And anyone who has any experience with that and is willing to talk me through that and help me out, please get a hold of me. I will return the favor however I can. I see some people use high pressure nozzles for humidification, and that way air would not be preconditioned. Is that as good? TR Davis seems to use this. He does. His floors are also wet. I've been to his op. You step and you get splash a little bit. I don't like wet floors. Also, I'm in a house and I don't have floor drains. So I don't like high pressure misting systems. I don't like low pressure misting systems. I like the ultrasonics. That said, I would use the hydro foggers, which are not a pressure. They're the fans. I might use those to precondition some air or something. It's just everything else. The water droplets are so heavy, and that the ultrasonic fog is so light that it just drifts on the breeze and goes right out the room. And the mushrooms use what they need, and then the rest goes out. I don't have to worry about it. So, and by the way, if you use House of Hydro's ultrasonics, always buy a backup. Always use code Mossy. Get you a bunch of free discs that so you don't have to buy those as quickly. And then make sure you keep it in a large reservoir. Keep it cool. Heat kills those things very quickly. Most people have a problem with it because they don't take care of them properly. That said, even if you get a faulty one, that's why you buy it back up, so that if it ever goes out, if you have one that breaks during the warranty, John has the best customer service I've ever come across. So let's see. Those two brothers in Holland, they got truffles. Andy Tuesday. Yeah. So I'd love to. I'll check that out. I don't know anything about it, but You oftentimes get truffles. It's just sometimes it takes years, and maybe there's something I haven't seen that's come about recently where somebody's having some more success with it. Where are you talking about taking a class with Mark Uden? I've never taken a class with Mark Uden, Joe. I'm not even sure who that is. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Paul Guy. John Grady, welcome to the chat, man. As a grower starting out, how many species would you try to handle at once, and which might you recommend to put in the grow room together based on having similar needs? So maybe 2 or 3. In the beginning, you want to start with as few as possible. And I realize I just went on that thing about monoculture, but you'll diversify pretty quickly just because you'll be interested and you won't be able to help yourself. I would start with 1 or 2. And I don't even know about species, like strains, like 1 or 2 strains. And allow yourself to just naturally grow into the point of having more and more. Just recognize that you're going to want to diversify and that you're going to want to play with strains. You're going to run tests regularly. But the best way to go, in my opinion, is to find someone who has proof of a really good strain, get that really good strain, and then try to grow it like they grow it. And then once you get good at it, start to now diversify into the next one and the next one and get a little harder each time. So start with something easy like King Blue Oyster from me or Blue Oyster from Lambert's out of Pennsylvania, that kind of stuff. Then start to diversify into harder things like chestnuts, piapinos, etc. Killer Kenyas, do you use a Coolba or do you use a walk-in to store your mushies? Neither. We use a two-door gas station fridge that I picked up off Craigslist for $600. When we go to the new place, we'll do a walk-in. But my plan is to never I don't like to let mushrooms sit more than a day. And I just don't like them to sit. If they're 2 days old, let's say out 2 days in the fridge, that's all I want them to sit. I want them to get there before they start degrading to the chefs and spore out big time in the boxes. I mean, they still spore, but you don't want them to degrade. What type of paint do you recommend for a lab/grow area? Anything that's wipeable. I think I let Samantha pick paints because Samantha's an artist and she's got the most experience with paints. And so whatever she and Ben say, this is the paint I want to use, I just go with whatever they say. It's usually a latex-based paint. If I'm remembering correctly, something wipeable, something very thick. Usually takes us a lot of paint to get it painted with a nice thick layer, but it's so much easier to clean. In the grow room, I don't think we really did any kind of paint in the grow room. We just left the blocks painted what they were. Plastic is my favorite wall in a grow room, just like a roll of plastic. Hit the like button. Love and away. Thank you very much for hitting that like button, man. Appreciate it. Ohio, checking in. Welcome, Cameron. Cameron Ferguson. I haven't seen you in a while, have I? Paul Guy says, you have a bunch of Canadian fans. I'm in Alberta. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I actually do get a fair amount of calls from Canada, and it always surprises me. I'm like, Quebec on the phone. Mush says, thanks for the reply. You're very welcome. My mom is saying hi to my mama. Good thing to do. Keep those women happy. Yeah, it's not even about keeping them happy. I guess I'm old school. I still worry about, I don't want Samantha broken down on the side of the road for long. There's Innengard and there's Utengard. And when my ladies are out Utengard, I worry. And when they're in Innengard, we're good. I can drop my guard in Innengard. Weird way to say it. Eugene Rawls says, I've heard people use formalin formaldehyde vapor to clean contamination on flow hoods. Or do you have a better alternative? Just let it run. Dry air is like one of the worst things in the world to a contamination source. Just let it run for a long time and dry out. You shouldn't be getting too much contamination on your flow hood anyways. I mist mine with alcohol occasionally just to get the cracks and stuff around. But, really, I just turn it on for 30 minutes beforehand, and any spores that are going to have blown away, if there's something growing there, will have blown away by then. You guys get to see me eat my lunch. I got it liquid this time, so I wouldn't feel bad about eating in front of you. The Boundary series are written by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. That way you can find these books easier. Thank you. Honestly, Dr. John Townsend sounds familiar. I'm not sure where that's from, but what's in that smoothie drink thing you're drinking? Spinach, mangoes, dark sweet cherries, kefir, a little bit of protein powder, and whole milk. You put gypsum in your substrate? Nope, never. Family first, you're doing it right. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. Any tips on getting a full fruit from reishi? My friend can only get antlers to form. It needs more oxygen. If you want a conch, you've got to have a lot of oxygen. But I prefer antlers over conchs anyway. So if he's only getting antlers, that's really my favorite way to go. Spore your own good. Spore your own good. I had to leave the last chat before you got to my comment about filters. Should have everything ironed out within the week. We'll have a 12 by 12, a 12 by 24, and a 24 by 24 available. 3-week rate right now. Yeah. So guys, when I told you guys about the last one, it wasn't like 10 minutes till after I got off the live stream, and I got an email saying that it wouldn't be till April 5th that they would receive their shipment so that I could finally get my shipment, which I need something faster if I can get it. And so I'm trying to figure out where I want to go to get something a little bit faster. I was not expecting to have to build a production lab so quickly, because I thought we weren't planning on moving to a warehouse until the October of this year. And since we're pulling the trigger early for various reasons, it ends up being that I need to build that lab faster. So I wasn't expecting to have to order everything in a hurry, like humidifiers and everything else. So just glad that I have the ability to order them. Let's see. Here in the Netherlands, truffles are the psychedelic ones. They got confused here with the gourmet truffles. Okay, yeah, I've heard of the psychedelic truffles for sure. I've always wanted to go and try them. I haven't, though. Kathy says, how do you determine what to charge for delivery? I don't. I look at the mileage. I'm like, okay, it's going to take me this long. So an hourly rate would be here plus my mileage. But I get to write my mileage off, so I don't really charge them by the mile. I just charge them by the time that it takes on average and work from there. I do that and then add like another 10, 20%. Really, I just want to make sure they're serious. And I'm here from New Brunswick. Looks like Canada is well represented today, apparently. I don't know maybe it's the time of day I hit. Lonnie B, welcome to the chat, man. I watched your video on your grow room cleaning. What is your lab cleaning schedule? Every time it's used. So every time we do production, the lab gets cleaned. It gets wiped down. Everything gets moved. If you're talking about a deep clean, we do that once every week or two. In fact, we're probably overdue for it right now. Mangoes. Love mangoes. It's one of my favorite fruits. Just start growing mushrooms, blue oyster. I have a yellow fluid in my bags that are colonized. Is that normal? What is it? Probably metabolites. It's just mushroom pee. Well, mushroom stomach acid. It's to give a longer response, I guess. A lot of people don't, I guess, realize what that is. Think of the mushroom mycelium as a outside stomach. They don't have stomachs. They don't grab things and bring them in and then digest them. So we have metabolites. Stomach acid is a metabolite. So what you're talking about really is like hyphae go here. They secrete a liquid. It just pulls apart the molecular bonds of certain things, and they suck it back in, right? And that's how they get their nutrition. And that would be metabolites. Sometimes it is mushroom pee. It's waste from that process, just like we have waste from that process. And then sometimes it is literally just their digestive enzymes. It is best when you start getting that kind of stuff to use the bag as soon as it's grown in. Heavy metabolites can mean sometimes heavy metabolites can sometimes be a sign of bacteria, that they're using it as a defense mechanism. But a lot of times I find that the master's mix makes a lot of mushrooms produce heavy metabolites. And you just don't want your mycelium sitting in it for a real long time. Do you have a trick for your bare tooth / comb? I have lion's mane that loves to fruit in the grain to grain spawn jars I use. So transfer, like if you look really closely, for one thing, my spawn grows in a week. It doesn't look grown in, but it grows in a week. So if you look very carefully, you can see the thinnest of mycelium growing. So thin that it looks like a tiny little spider web, solely and singly growing across the bag. And you'll see it, and it's just really, really light. This is like I don't know how to explain it. It just really grows in really, really light. By the time you can see the mycelium, by the time it's white and nice looking like oyster mushrooms, in my opinion, you've waited too late. You can ask Jason if he's still in the chat, but when we do our cone tooth and stuff, I like to do it when the bag still looks brown. You poke your knife in, pull it out, and sometimes sawdust is still spilling out. You got to run early and often with them. If they start pinning in the spawn, then as soon as you transfer them, they're going to pin right there as well. So it's always better just to be really careful about transferring them early and often. So. Let's see. Next question. Well, actually, let me take a drink real quick. Okay. Robert Charles says, I think the water from a swamp cooler will help keep the air cleaner as well as to keep the bacteria and mold trapped in liquid. Is that a myth in my brain hole? No. So, Robert, something I used to do was to spray. When I was doing open air transfers, I would spray the air in the room with what I called a bleach bomb, which was take a pesticide sprayer, get a 5% bleach solution, and then over your area where you're going to be working, make sure all your vents in your room are turned off, and then just spray from top to bottom some a fine 5% bleach mist. And as that's falling down, it's collecting everything and bringing it down. Then you wipe your surface area down really well, and that allows it to everything to fall down and be clean. And then you just work really carefully, work really slow, control your breathing, make sure that you don't have anything disturbing air currents and lifting things back up. So that's how I used to do things. Do you get but as far as keeping the air cleaner, I mean, it might. I don't know if it would or not. I would have to know. We're going to do some tests here. In fact, it'd be easy to test. Just take a Petri dish, open it up in front, take a Petri dish, open it up behind, go a little bit further, open another one, test it, and then let it grow, and you'll see how dirty your air is. Do you get trike in your fruiting room beyond regular cleaning and other strategies? So we used to on our shiitake blocks. We do occasionally on oysters where they've been cut open, but very rarely. So one of my favorite things is to have like a little butane torch. We don't do it very often because we don't do shiitake anymore. But you carry around a little butane torch. When you saw a little speck of green growing on a shiitake block, you just blast it. And that worked better than anything else I've ever found, was just blasting those little green spots for keeping a block in, getting it finished fruiting. And it would cook the outside area right there on the skin of the shiitake, but really it never did anything. You charge for delivery? Thought that cost was supposed to be figured in the price. I mean, you can do it either way. I don't charge for delivery for anyone except for people who are outside my delivery route. Here from Ontario, Canada, listening while I work. Welcome, DM. E. Spore Your Own Good says E. E indeed. Joe says, Spore Your Own Good, please let us know about the filters as soon as they are available. Yes. Please. I need filters. I need filters bad. And I would prefer a nice 4-foot filter. I'm a big guy. I like spacious area to work. So I'm going to buy a filter, and it's going to be going into my private lab, or my culture lab. And then the flow hood that's downstairs currently will be going into the production lab so that we can keep that going. You were talking about being an ass sometimes, but I'm an ass all the time. So I'm worried about selling because of it. I just can't hush my mouth when it's best to. My signal moves will be back in a minute. I hope you're back, Robert. Yeah. It won't be that bad. I mean, you'll attract the people you attract, and then you won't the ones you won't. My best thing though is read How to Win Friends and Influence People. That is the best book I have ever read on how to deal with people. It reads like a 1950s film etiquette on dating. They say some things that are so simple that you feel like you're an idiot listening to it. But that book changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. Helped me become a person that deals with people. Just keep it going. Sorry, Spore Your Own Good. Your message got hidden there. I went ahead and popped it up. But the How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale. How to Win Friends and Influence People by, is it Dale Carnegie? Who is it? Dale Carnegie. Yep, Dale Carnegie, written in 1936. That's why it sounded that way. Okay. It's an amazing book and taught me how to adult with other adults. One of my favorite lines from it is, do you care about being right or do you care about being effective? And that stopped a lot of my argumentative side that I've got. I have an argumentative side because I cared about everything being right. You're not right. You're not telling the truth. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Whatever stuff. But then you begin to realize that's not a very effective strategy. So do you care about being right and crushing that person until they admit you're right? Or do you care about being effective and leading the horse to water? So, okay. Oh, hey, Jason, you're still here doing stuff and listening. Hey, man, thanks. Appreciate it. I know you're off duty, so I'm glad you. I'm happy that you still do that. Or I'm happy. I know you're off duty. I appreciate you listening in. There we go. My gosh, Andrew, learn to speak. Carol says hi from the Czech Republic. Welcome. Very nice. It's always nice to have a Czech person. Is it pronounced Carol? Carl? I don't. Carl? I don't know. How much water would you use for 1 kilogram mix of 50-50 straw and sawdust from beach? So 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So for 5 pounds, I use 7 pounds of water. So basically, you just cut that in half. It'd still be a little over. So, right? I mean, you just cut that almost in half. So it'd be about 3.5. Do you weigh water by kilogram? See, I don't know this kind of stuff. I don't work well with this. And you're asking me a math question. And now I'm getting to show you why I was in special ed math growing up. So what is that? It's 3.5 minus a little bit. So 3 pounds. So 3 pounds water, whatever that turns out into kilogram. I'm going to let you Google that because I'm not going to Google it right this second. But yeah, that's how much I would use, something like that. Screw it. I'll just do it. Pounds to kilograms. So you would use 1.3 kilograms of water. And then you'll have to figure out the volume from there. So just get the weight and then make your volume count right there. Thanks for the reply on the lines, man. I know what you're saying. I almost feel like it looks like cobweb mold sometimes because it's so thin. Yes, and that's exactly when you want to use it, when it looks like cobweb mold. It scares me to death all the time, every time we do it. But that's exactly the way to do it. Pluto says, for my 12-pound bags at 16% supplement and target of 60% hydration. So you're talking about with the alfalfa. 3.5 pounds of hardwood, 1.5 pounds alfalfa, 7 pounds water. That does sound correct to me, Pluto, but I'm terrible at math, as you just saw, so double check and triple check. Why did you stop doing shiitake? So, Mark, the reason why I stopped doing shiitake is because the value extraction is too slow and too little. So, and my square footage is too small. I think shiitake is great if you have space for it. But I look for, how do I get my ROI, my return on investment, as quickly as possible? So we have a blog post on our mossycreekmushrooms.com blog that is the importance of working backwards. And in that, I talk a little bit about oyster production. But if you go into then go into mycological warfare part 1 and part 2, Ben talks about why shiitake is a tier 2 mushroom farm, or a tier 2 mushroom farm mushroom. The reason for this is it takes 8 weeks to incubate versus 2 weeks for the oyster. So now, then the oysters from planting to harvesting takes me 21 days to extract the initial value. All of my numbers are always around initial value. I do not count second flushes. I allow that to just be bonus income. But I should be able to pay my bills and make my profit on the first flush. Now, with shiitake, you're talking 8 weeks in incubation and then a week or 2 in the grow room. So right there, value extraction is faster for oysters. And at $8 a pound versus $10 a pound, you're only making $2 more per pound on the shiitake. Shiitake produces about a pound less per block first flush. So now my value is already lower. So not only is it lower, but it's slower. And now the biggest reason why is the labor cost. To pick oysters and extract the value from the block, we walk up, we grab the oysters, we pull them off the block, put them in a box, value extracted. With shiitake, take shiitake, you got 100 little mushrooms growing on the thing, or 100 big mushrooms, or 50 big ones, or 20, whatever. You pluck every single one of them off, or you trim every single one of them off. So it takes a way longer to extract that value. So it has so many things working against it, even though it is a fantastic mushroom. And when we go to the warehouse, I will be growing it, but it will never be my main source of income if I can help it. So, plus, it's tier 2 of mushrooms because tier 1 mushrooms don't ship well. Tier 2 mushrooms ship very well. Shiitake ships very well. There are companies all over the United States who are huge and have automation or cheap labor, and they are able to grow and produce shiitake and ship it all over the place, and they do it well. And, you know, why would I want to compete with someone on their own terms when I can compete with people on mine? So I hope that answers your question, Mark. Mango says, sharing info. Hydroponic liquid fertilizer is not good for mushrooms. The mycelium is struggling in my experiment. Yeah, I came across that over and over again. I did just sawdust and then hydroponic nutrients at a seedling level. And I don't remember what it came down to exactly. In my experience, the mycelium grew in slowly and then never produced a mushroom. So I had a hard time with that too. Spore Your Own Good says, email me at sporeyourowngood@yahoo.com. I emailed the MCM about it already. Oh, if you did, I'll have to go check that out. I'll have to definitely check that out. What? Mark's comment just got, it says, yes, your answer was perfect. Oh, ass always instead of as. Gotcha. That's why I tagged it. I was wondering. Pluto says, I did my hydration test using 7 pounds of water on a bag after pasteurization. It came out to 41%. So I bumped up the water to just under 8 pounds. I haven't tested the hydration for those bags yet. I'd be interested in how you attained both of those. It would be, did you do it with a meter? Because those are sometimes a little off. Or did you use something different than pellets because those are really dry? Did you figure out the water content of your substrate before you added the 7 pounds? So I would just be like, not that I say that you did it wrong. I'd just be interested in knowing, Pluto. Carnegie, Rich Jenkins says, Carnegie, we got that book. Oh yeah, man, that book it's fantastic. Written in 1936, and it's just as true today as it has ever been. I have lion's mane ready to fruit. Is there a way to slow it down? I'm leaving on vacation for a couple weeks and no one. So if you haven't poked a hole in it yet, put it in the refrigerator and see if that helps. That usually slows things down. Thomas Page said, hey, y'all, happy I made it. Just ordered my filter from Myers now to match a blower. Well, congratulations, man. Oh, he's selling. So he's just, you got the filter and not the blower? Dang, Mark, you just keep getting flagged. Alan says, when you fill your bags with water, are you using a chlorine filter? No, we just put chlorinated tap water in. It doesn't bother it. Joe says that he sent you an email, Spore. Spore, I'll see if I can figure out what name you were under so I can get with you too, because I definitely need a flow hood. And if you've got flow hoods, I need one. See, I'm Miser said 1 kilogram of water is, relatively speaking, 1 liter. There are a number of factors which can change that ratio, such as altitude, temperature, composition, etc., but it's usually still negligible, 1 to 1 kilogram to liter. See, that's what I was thinking. That's what I love about the metric system. It's so standardized that it just, everything makes sense. I like Imperial because I'm used to it, but even then, I have to look stuff up all the time. I feel like with that, I would be able to just go through life much easier with a system in place. They don't have soybean hulls pelletized here. Is soybean meal the same thing? No, soybean meal is not the same thing, and you don't use it by the same weight. It is more potent, and there are calculators. There are recipes for it. I don't know it off the top of my head. I don't want to give it to you wrong. Go on the mushroom growing group and just type in soybean meal, and you should be able to find some recipes there. Michael Mama says, shiitake queen here. To be honest, if you can't grow them outside on logs, you won't make your money. So I grow them on logs, but then I only sell them seasonally. So there is that. And it allows me to grow a big variety of them because I get the bellwether, I got Filton Forest, like all of their varieties, and I just grow a whole bunch of them, which, we just killed them, as in like they were already getting gone and they were years old, and we just didn't have one. I haven't made any more yet. Probably will be making blocks though soon. Bang for buck on log. Yeah, I love log grown shiitake. They are superior. Thank you, Mark. I'm glad that my answer worked for you. Joe says, Mama, thanks for that info. William, in retail and sales, they also call it turns. How many times you can turn your product cycle per year? You did a great explanation. Thank you. Oh, okay. I like that. Turns is good. I like that a lot. Yeah. I knew there had to be something for it. I have these huge holes of knowledge, the huge gaps in my knowledge that I love filling, but it's a little difficult to get out there and learn it all. Have 15 logs that should spawn this spring. Good, Joe. I love shiitake logs. Polo, I'm a little afraid to say I like it. Michael Mama, if you need my strains, let me know. They're yours. The least I can do for all your help. One, I would pay you for your strains. You paid for mine. I'll pay you for yours. Let me know which ones you got. Send me an email. Mama, how can I get in touch with you? Joe says. Mark says, that's so damn funny. It's my French. Yeah, man, no worries. I cuss all the time. I try not to. I try really hard not to here. Whew. Man, guys, I'm getting a little tired. I am going to get off here in just a few minutes. Maybe 10 more minutes. Let's see. Rich says, for a flow front screen, can you use a furnace HEPA filter, the purple on the don't let spores and viruses? Do you mean like a pre-filter, or do you mean like wanting an actual screen in front of your flow hood? Because I don't put a screen in front of my flow hood. I feel like it's just going to make it too easy for it to get dirty and then get hard. It's going to be harder for me to clean it behind because stuff will fall back there. Have you ever considered nitrogen packaging? I'm desperately searching for ways to prolong shelf life. I have not. I have not considered that. I probably would consider it if I had a good system or experience or anything to do with it. Stoyan says, "Hi, hey man, I'm from Canada." Another Canadian, guys. Thanks for all the info you share with us. You're very welcome. Have you ever had problems with flies in your fruiting room? How do you deal with it? We have. The fly strips from Walmart are perfect for it. You put them on your posts between your shelving units, and when they land, they get stuck and they're done. And that's probably the best way I've done it. Also, don't allow your substrate to just sit in your grow room. Constantly be like fruiting your bags and moving them out. Don't fruit them. Like I've fruit mine only 2 times. That interrupts the life stages of the flies. So just look into that. Like rotate your crops out regularly. Between that, regular cleaning, and the fly strips, should be good to go. Even in the summertime, we still get flies in the summer. You're always going to have some flies. The question is not eradicating them, but in like managing the spread. The feed store by me sells to other mushroom farms. He said they buy wheat and milo from him. Thoughts on what they're growing? Probably oysters or let's see, shiitake. Shiitake grows really well in wheat mids. Milo's probably for grain spawn. If they're buying whole wheat and whole milo, then it's probably for spawn. Joe, you had never cursed to it. Yeah, well, yeah. Let's say that I could tell you had some Navy in you when we were on the phone. How's the sterilizer video series coming? Slowly, but well. You guys will see us build the new steamer. Really, that video won't come around until we take possession and build the new steamer unit. Guys, I've got a cool steamer unit to show you when we get to the warehouse, for sure. Oh, it's coming. But it's going to be slow. Rich Jenkins says, making a flow hood. Oh, crap. I got to go back up here because I got to find out what you're talking about. For the flow front screen, can you use a so you mean instead of a HEPA filter? I think some people have tried it, but they've had rough results. And so I don't want to say yes and then you do it. I think that it's when you're dealing with such an important piece of equipment, in my opinion, it's best to either A, do it differently at all if you can't afford it, or B, actually go in and make the leap and pay the money. Trying to like make it work, I feel like just doesn't do it. That's why I bought my first flow filter, my HEPA flow filter from Paul Stamets, even though it's super expensive. My first purchase from him was back in 2013, and I'd been using a still air box for 2 years before that. And I just needed something where I could work faster. And I thought, I don't know how to build this. I don't know much about it. I don't understand all of it. But I know he runs a mushroom op, and this is the filter he suggests and he uses. And even though it's expensive, that's what I'm going to buy. So that's the one thing I didn't skimp on when I started my op. Everything else I skimped on. But you gotta think that between that and your steamer, it's kind of like the heart of your operation. That's what keeps everything flowing and pumping and everything else. That the laboratory and the cook, and you got to keep that beat going. And so I prefer not to skimp on that particular piece of equipment. That said, maybe try it and see what happens. I mean, like I said, I worked open air before doing still air box, and then I worked still air box before going to a HEPA flow filter. In fact, we took a still air box, and a buddy of mine who's an electronics hobbyist and a computer programmer by trade, he ended up taking that still air box, cutting a hole in the side. We glued a vacuum cleaner HEPA filter to it, and he took a vacuum pump from an old vacuum cleaner and stuck it on there. And then I had to work with earplugs, but I would work in my lab, and I would turn that thing on, and it would be pushing HEPA filtered air into my glove box and then out the two, or not out of my still air box and out the two armholes. And that's how I worked in that one after that. So that was the cheapest way we made in fact, man, maybe we should build one of those and do a video on that, because that worked for 2 years, or that worked for a year or two, and made life so much easier than working in just a still air box. Can you compare and contrast packaging your bear and cone tooth versus oysters? I package them the same. They go in the same box, substrate side down, mushroom face up. I put them in the same boxes I get from Uline that I put my oysters in. Everything I sell is based on a standardized box. That's how I'm able to deal with so many species and everything else, and not worry about different kinds of packaging, different weights, different anything. Stoyan, it looks like you retracted your message. Mark says, I have tried some LC with no airport, and I've had good success. But do you think maybe I will have some problems long term? Yeah, it's probably actually having some problems already. You may be stunting your growth, but stunting your growth may not be so bad. If I remember correctly, someone had told me once, I read it somewhere, that mycelium can actually pull the oxygen from the water molecules. I don't know if that's true, and so please don't quote me. And please don't believe me. Go look that up. But that is something I heard. But it's a slow process. So you're probably getting some slowing and don't realize it. But you're probably okay. A lot of times what you want is waste carbon dioxide leaving, not necessarily oxygen. But hey, guy, Joe. Oh, never mind. You've already seen it. Gotcha. Pluto, percentage formula. Part divided by whole times 100 equals percentage. Took my wet substrate after pasteurization for test. Weighed out 3 ounces whole, evaporated in microwave. Dry weight part was like 1.4 ounces, I think. Okay, yeah, so you got it all figured out. Yeah, sounds like you're on the right path. Then I don't know. I don't know why your moisture content was off, but looks like you've got it figured out. So good for you, man. I'm terrible at math, so I just trust Ben. Ben is my brain. Ben and Samantha both. Let's see. We fill our bags with warm water until the tank runs cold. If it's fish, I don't know who you're answering. Maybe I missed something, but yeah, we definitely use warm water. It helps the pellets absorb faster. At the new place, we're going to have a gas hookup. That's actually in the lease. Is that he will pay to have a hookup installed and meter installed, and we'll just have to pay for the service being connected. But I'm going to be able to put in a continuous hot water heater so we don't run out of hot water like we do. And let me tell you guys, there's nothing like quite taking a shower upstairs while they're downstairs making bags, because the water pressure is and it just gets colder and colder. And you've got to do deliveries. You don't want to go to the chefs all stinky and dirty. So that's a fun day. I'm just going to be so glad when this is out of my house. Billy Nash says, maybe I missed it, but what kind of filters are you looking for? HEPA filters, a lab HEPA filter. That's what I'm looking for. I need some. I need one in particular right now to hold me over. I ordered one on Amazon, and they're not going to get it to me for a month. And when we do this move, I want to be able to have a lab in 2 different places, which means I need a new fan. I need a new filter unit, fan and everything box. Pluto says, I'm going to keep trying to get it right. I'll let you know. Thanks. Yeah, man, please do. I want to know for sure. But Shane says, Alibaba has some for 100, but when talked away to 200. Yeah, so Alibaba has not been kind to me, but I haven't used it much, so maybe I'm using it wrong. Plus, it takes forever to get stuff from there, is what I hear. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Polo says flow hood glove box. Yeah, yeah. That thing was badass, but the problem was that he also had sold LED lighting in it, so I could like lift it up. I had lighting and everything in that flow hood box that he had built, the HEPA flow hood box. But that thing was a Cadillac at the time. Like that thing felt like just slip into something entirely comfortable. Stoyan says, one more question. Do you fill your bags with hot water? I find that with cold water, the pellets don't dissolve well. I feel like I just answered that. But yes, we use hot water. Yes, it makes the pellets much easier. Maybe I missed. You probably said that before I even answered. So yes, it is much easier with hot water, which is why I want continuous hot water at the new place. Sorry, man. William said, I didn't realize the chat was still so high. I'm trying to catch up with you guys. William Savage says, thank you for encouraging folks to invest in themselves. You're welcome, man. While being smart and starting and running their mushroom business. Your sharing is wonderful. I'll pass the wisdom on to my grower friends. Hey, man, thank you very much. I'm glad to be of use. I've never thought that me, of all people, would be that useful to people, but I am happy for it. I'm glad I took the chance. Glad I faced the camera, because I was terrified of the camera when I first started. Talked about that a little bit last live stream. Joseph says, chestnuts are top grow, right? I still side fruit mine, but we're going to start doing some tests on top fruiting whenever our next batch is fully incubated. Jason and I were actually just talking about that the other day. Let's see. Robert Charles said, just scored 2 giant pressure cookers. These have the bolt lock for the lids instead of the twist tops for $5. Nice. I have it all American. I'm actually about to bring it upstairs because I've got a mountain of grain to cook this weekend. So I'm about to run 3 pressure cookers today. Ron says, it's time for us to make the next leap to making our own blocks. Interested in bagger plans if you're making them available. Guys, we are making the bagger plans available. They're coming as quickly as possible. Ben is divided in 15 different directions, and with this warehouse grow, he will be solely focused on getting that built until then, and then we'll get the bagger stuff going. We are selling baggers, so if you're interested in buying one, you can email me at mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com. It's much easier for him to build it. He's got the instructions or the plans like halfway finished. I know he's finished the parts list and the cuts and everything else. Now I think he's got to do everything put together. So Michael says, I did mine with a vacuum HEPA and an air mattress blower where there's a will, there's a way. Yep, that's basically the same thing for sure. I definitely did that. Glad I was able to catch the stream. Hope you have a great day, Andrew. See you next time. See you, John. Take care, man. Yes, and Jason, you're excited about that never-ending hot water, huh? I figured you might be. Joe says, never thought about that system setup, Mama. Is thinking outside the box. Rodrigo says, saludos from Mexico. Well, saludos. Thanks for always sharing. When possible, I would love a video on your pasteurization, sterilization process. So, yes, we will get one of those out to you soon. Absolutely. By the way, Stoyan, if it's fish said cold water does equal harder blocks, and he's right, it absolutely does. Joe says, Andrew, you are doing well since there are 52 watching. Wow, wasn't even looking at my numbers today. I normally do. Thank you, Joe. Billy Nash says, I knew HEPA, but I had an extra 2x4 for my FFU. I can get Flanders FFUs also. They are 277 volts, so I have to use a $100 transformer. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I'm trying to find a 110, so it's just plug and play for me. Even at the new op, we're going to have plenty of 220 at the new op. Even then, I'm going to want the 110 because the wiring from the 220 circuit all the way to the lab is going to be outrageous, and I don't want to do that in the beginning. Where do you sell your mushrooms, and where do you see the most success with it in the mushroom business? Restaurants in a place called Knoxville and Blount County, Sevierville. We have a whole loop that we do in this geographic range, and restaurants are where we find it. We started off at farmers markets, and I think farmers markets are a better place to start than restaurants, but restaurants are where you want to go. Lion B said, I just ordered a 24 by 24 by 11.5 HEPA that Meyer had on his site last night on Amazon, shipped today. Yeah, I knew he had the 2 foot by 2 foots. I'm looking for something a little bit more comfortable, but I might go ahead and get the 2 foot by 2 foot just so I can do some culture work. Really, it's going to be a culture lab one anyway. So, Andrew, I have to jump off here. I look forward to talking with you later. Everybody, thanks for being in here and helping with questions and some answers, and some who have answers to newbies like myself. Hey, Joe, you're very welcome, man. Take care. Have a good day. I'll call you later on tonight. Bloom and booming. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you next time. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to stop it, guys. Everyone have a good weekend. I'm going to jump off here. I've got to go film a video for Robin anyways and get some pay done. So, Yagder, still, you're showing up right at the end, brother. Have a good one, guys. Take care.